Good morning and welcome to Unity Spiritual Center, Saxe, this Sunday, January 3rd, 2021. Let's take a deep breath together. Grateful for this new day, this new year, for the chance to begin again in this moment, to start life anew, no matter what has come before us. Breathe in, letting go of all tension and distractions. Letting go of whatever may be running through our minds. Letting go of the week before, the week ahead. And bringing our awareness to our core, bringing our awareness to who and what we are, divine beings, one with the Father. Inextricably joined with the same force that created the heavens and the earth. We are that same energy. We are goodness and light. We are peace, harmony, and prosperity. We are abundance. We are beneficence. We are unity. We are strength and power. We have dominion over our thoughts, words, and actions. We are creators, just as the Creator created us. We have the same power to speak into existence the life that we want to create. Yes, we have the power. We are that power, and it lies within us and at our fingertips at all times. And so we breathe in, knowing that life is breath and breath is life. And even when we no longer have breath, we are an inexhaustible energy that will last forever. So we breathe in with gratitude for the ability to create, for the ability to express God on this planet, to affect the world around us, our experience with our consciousness. We are magnificence. And in our living, we bring glory to that energy that is God. Breathe deeply. Letting go of everything but the all good. Goodness. Peace. Love. Joy, prosperity. And now from this place of power and peace, we sing our centering song, Spirit's Prayer. Together.
Loving Spirit dwells in me. This is my divinity, as within, so without. All I need is here and now. Where there's air, let me love. May I have no fear. All the power, all the glory, I surrender, let it be. Loving Spirit dwells in me, now and evermore. Loving Spirit dwells in me. This is my divinity, as within, so without. All I need is here and now. Where there's air, let me love. May I have no fear. All the power, all the glory, I surrender, let it be. Loving Spirit dwells in me, now and evermore.
Good morning. I want to share with you a poem that I woke up on January 1st with the first few lines in my head, so I wrote it down. And this is just a prayer for affirmation moving forward. With gratitude to other days, with lessons learned, time parts the way. I leave behind the angst and strife, where once was darkness, now is light. Let no fear cross through this door. I walk in love and hate no more. Let when my brethren call to me, may I have ears and eyes to see. I comfort any wounds I'm shown. I reach for them and heal my own. As I make choices through the day, let wisdom guide a mindful way. I choose the joy, the health, the strength. I push my boundaries, feel my length. Let no one's fear discourage me. I stay my course to let me be. For on this journey long and bright, I'm guided by the inner light. My path is clear, the road is wide. We all will bridge the great divide. Supporting what I see in you, I'm rooted in what's strong and true. Walking forward hand in hand, together we all safely land. Best versions of both you and me, we swim in possibility.
Beautiful.
Let's gather all the children in the world in our hearts and minds now as we recite our children's blessing. Together, children of light, we see you guided and directed by an inward spirit that leads you into the path that is right for you. We see you strong and whole. We see you blessed and prospered. We see you courageous and confident. We see you as the spiritually perfect beings you truly are. Children of light, we bless you. And our inspiration moment is from 365 Science of Mind, and the word is good. We are taught we must gain knowledge of that which cannot pass away. Even the valley of the shadow of death causes no fear when we arrive at the consciousness of the psalmist who proclaimed, "Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me." The rod and staff of the truth is a realization of the substantiality and the permanence of that which cannot change. The revitalizing, regenerative power of spirit flows from the consciousness of wholeness into our physical organism and into every objective act. When we give the realization of the divine presence free passage through our thought, Ralph Waldo Emerson tells us that in these moments we are conscious that we as isolated beings are nothing, but that the divine light is all. Thus he admonishes us to get our bloated nothingness out of the way of the divine circuit. How wonderful to realize this possibility to which he refers, non-resistance and non-burden. Let us then learn to let burden slip from the shoulders of personal responsibility and enter into our divine union with enthusiasm. I know that every apparent death is a resurrection. Therefore, gladly today, I die to everything that is unlike good. Joyfully, I'm resurrected into that which is beautiful, enduring, and true. Silently, I pass from less to more, from isolation to inclusion, from separation into oneness. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. That's Psalm 23, verse 4. So let's repeat 3 times together. I say yes to all that is good. I say yes to all that is good. I say yes to all that is good.
Well, I came upon a child of God. He was walking on down the road, and I asked him, where are you going? This he told me. He said, I'm going down the Asgard's farm, gonna join in a rock and roll band, and I'm gonna camp out on the land and get my soul free. We are stardust, we are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden, back to the garden. Can I walk beside you? I have come here to lose the smoke, and I feel something a-coking and turning. Well, maybe it's the time of year, or maybe it's the time of man. I don't know who I am, but life is for learning. We are stardust, we are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden, back to the garden, yeah, back to the garden. And by the time we got to Woodstock, we were 500,000 strong, and everywhere was song and a celebration. And then I dreamed I saw the bombers riding shotgun in the sky, turning into butterflies above our nation. We are stardust, we are gold. We got to get ourselves back to the garden. Back to the garden, yeah. Back to the garden. Back to the garden. And we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. Back to the garden.
Happy New Year. Last week I read from the Revealing Word about the steps in demonstrating abundance, and I want to go back to that. It says, first we must recognize abundance as an idea that is real and has the power to expand. So yes, abundance is our theme for 2021, but before we can launch into anything, before we can start anything, before we start working on manifesting whatever it is we want to call into our lives, especially this year, we have to recognize that there is an abundant source. But because everything else comes from that. It's amazing, and I get goosebumps when I think about it. The fact that Deborah wrote that poem and she asked me right before service if I wanted her to read something, I didn't know how perfect it would be for that. That is a demonstration of abundance. That's a demonstration that there's something there to support me and us in everything all the time. The fact that that things happen in perfect synchronicity means that there's an abundant source. There's something that's at work in the universe all the time that sees all things, that governs all things, that there's an energy at work, that somehow there's this big something out there that is at the back of all life. That is the abundant source. That is the abundant source. That's why I love that song. That's why I picked that song for right before this talk, because we have to know that there's a garden. We have to know that there's a garden from which all things spring, from which all things grow. I said in our opening meditation that we are creators. And yes, we were created by the divine, through the divine, as the divine. And in this continual state of creation, we are a part of that creative energy. And it moves through us at all times. But if we don't recognize that there is a source, there's nothing to pull from. And all we will pull from and all we will work from is our life experience prior to this moment. I would imagine that each and every one of us has received messages of lack and limitation all throughout our lives. Perhaps it was in your family of origin. Perhaps it was, if not in your family of origin, through schooling or something else where somebody told you you didn't have something or you couldn't have something, or you deduced somehow that you couldn't have something or be something, or that something wasn't available to you. And then we let all those messages that we get throughout our lives, it starts to take over our consciousness, and that becomes the lens through which we see and experience everything. And so as we kick off this year of abundance, we first have to recognize what that source is. And if you don't believe in a source that is abundant, then you have a lot of work to do coming out of the gate. We need to find that. What is your source? What is the underpinning? What is your foundation that tells you that this is an abundant life, an abundant world? We have to find it. We need to recognize it and know that we pull from it and that it is inexhaustible. It is infinite. That source, it comes from everything. It came from creation. First there was the Word. First there was the Word. The Word was God and is God. And everything was spoken into existence. Everything. And if we'll just open our eyes and pay attention to life with a capital L, we'll realize and we'll know deep in our bones that there is an abundant source, an inexhaustible source at our fingertips. Look at nature. Look at how it springs forth every single year. Every single year. The sun comes up every single morning. Look at how nature grows and thrives and survives even in less than ideal circumstances. All of us at one point, I think, have seen where you can see a tree or a bud come up through rock or concrete. And you wonder, where did that come from? You can't hold life back. It will find its way into the light, always. Even as we abuse our planet in so many ways, it continues to give us all that we need. And we find at times, if we will just nurture it again and give it the things that it is used to having, that it needs to have, that it will regenerate in ways that we could not have imagined. I believe it was in Colorado where the wolves were almost killed out of existence there. And it started to affect all the flora and fauna in that area. It died out. Rivers receded. The grasslands went away. They died off. And as soon as they reintroduced the wolves back into that area, all of life came back. All of life came back. Nature is waiting for us to make a switch sometimes because that inexhaustible supply is always there waiting to be made manifest, to spring forth. In a couple of months, spring will be back. And all of the brown, all of the gray will become green again. I always love watching that happen. And if you're not paying attention, 1 week everything's brown and gray, and 4 weeks later, everything is just alive with color. The birds are back singing, and all of a sudden you wonder, when did this happen? Because we're asleep at the wheel and we forget about this inexhaustible supply that is working at all times, that is here in front of us, that is working with us even as we sleep through life. And that same inexhaustible supply is within each of us. So we have to recognize it. Recognize that there is a source. It all starts from there. That source with a capital S. The thing from which all things spring. Science has been drilling down to the nth degree and finding out what is really at the heart of matter. And it's an energy, an intelligence that you cannot see, but science knows and is sometimes lacking in its ability to quantify what that is. All of life is teeming around, waiting for us to call upon it. But if we don't see it, there's nothing we can do with it consciously. We're always working with the inexhaustible supply, except that we are manifesting things we perhaps don't want because we're speaking into existence things that we don't want. We're speaking into existence that we don't remember things anymore. We're speaking into existence that I don't feel well, or that I'm not strong, or that I don't have this, I don't have love, I'm not worthy of this, I'm not worthy of that. All of life, the universe is listening to that. We get what we claim and call into existence because that source is already always listening. What does Kim want right now? And if I speak into existence that I feel tired and I don't have what I need in this moment, then I will be tired and will not have what I need in this moment. But if I realize and know that there's an inexhaustible source that responds to me, that is waiting for me to claim something, then I can consciously say I want something else in this moment. This morning I walked around probably for about 10, 15 minutes wondering if I should work out. I actually could have been half through my workout by the time I walked around saying I don't feel like working out. But I didn't feel like it. And I was tired and I thought, maybe I'll blow it off today. Maybe I won't, maybe I won't. And then I remembered that I get to choose this. Yes, I can feel lackluster and feel like I don't want to do this and feel like I don't have the energy. And then I decided to flip that switch. But I also set an intention at the end of the year that I want this year again to be different for me health-wise. Yes. And so that means that it had to start with consciousness first. And even though I didn't feel like it physically, I told myself, okay, in this moment, it's going to change right here. I'm going to work out. And so I got dressed for my workout and headed out into the garage and picked up the weights and turned on my music and flipped the switch so that my consciousness was in a positive place. And the strength to go through a workout for 30 minutes came out of the blue. Because Lord knows I didn't feel like doing 30 minutes the way I did those 30 minutes. I really wanted to sit down and do a couple of things, maybe go eat breakfast instead, before coming here. But I knew I had a choice. I can affirm one or affirm the other, and I can have whichever I choose. Because I know there is a source, and the source will give me what I claim and ask for. So if I claim my dominion in that moment by saying, I have no energy, and I don't feel like this, then I could have sat there. And it would have been all right. And I would have had an okay day. I probably could have had a really good day, even though I didn't work out. But something different happens for me, I know, when I set my morning up differently. When I go to the source and say, I can make this a different kind of day. I can create my life right here, right now in a different way. I know there's a source other than this physical body. Because if I'd listened to my physical body, I would have sat on my butt all morning. Where does it come from? Where did that poem come from? From that inexhaustible source that spoke through her. And she just wrote it down. Those words came through you, didn't they? Yes. And all of us were impacted by that. There was a source that spoke through Deborah. She heard it. She heeded it. She started to write it down because something needed to be at work through all of us in order to hear that. I needed it for this message. I didn't know that when I woke up this morning. But there's a source that's got me in its hands, that has all of us in its hands, that knew that Deborah was listening. And she came forward. And look how we were all blessed by that. I know now that that poem will take us through this year. That's the source. That's what can happen. But we've got to know that it's there. And then when we hear it and when we see it, and we practice in prayer and meditation, we practice to know the voice when we hear it. We practice getting quiet so that we trust what's coming through us. She could have walked away when she felt it. She could have said, I got something better to do. No, I don't know. That's just something I'm hearing. You know, what's the big deal? Source, I believe, is always tapping us on the shoulder for something. Saying, I'm right here, I got your best and your highest ready for you, right here, right here. It's always talking to us. The inner GPS is always working, even if we don't turn it on. It's always working. It's so important as we get into this year about abundance. Because some of us are going to have to work really hard to dispel and to get rid of all of those negative messages that have brought us to this day, that have taught us that we don't deserve something in particular, or that there's not enough of it for us. What is it you need to let go of? What are the messages you heard in your family? What did somebody say to you about something you don't deserve that you still believe somewhere at the core of your being? You can kind of shake it off rationally and say, oh, I'm past that. But it still governs what you do and what you believe and how you manifest things in your life. Because we're unconscious about them. But we haven't healed them. Just like the poem said. There are things we need to let go of. There are things we need to heal. There are wounds that we have that still the scab gets knocked off sometimes when something happens or we hear something. We need to heal the wound. We need to know that the wound can go away. And that at some point we don't recognize that there was a wound. Some of us are proud of our scars. I used to be. And you claim that you're a survivor, and we talk about our scars all the time. And we're famous for enumerating them and telling people about them. I used to do that all the time and talk about the wound. What about if we stop talking about the wound and proclaim it fully healed so that it's not recognizable anymore? And then one day you open your eyes, something happens, and you go, oh, that's not true for me anymore. That's not true for me anymore. That's what I pray happens for you this year. That whatever it is that's still lingering, and we all have something, we're all working on something, and you probably know what it is right here, right now, don't you? You know what it is. We're going to work on that. If you're willing. If you're willing. We'll love you even if you still want to walk around with your wounds out, showing them to the world. But that's up to you. You get to choose that. Just like the body can heal itself and get stronger in an area that was once wounded, yes, your consciousness can do the same. It was your body's consciousness that healed the physical wound. The body always tends towards life and healing. Always. Always. And it doesn't matter what you do to it, it's still going to try to heal you. It still helps you to do what you are trying to make your body do during the day, every single moment, no matter what you give it, or fail to give it. Some of us just neglect ourselves. It's not like we're feeding ourselves something that's not healthy. Sometimes we just neglect our bodies. And the body will still try to heal you and help you do everything you put it through. All the paces. All the paces. What do you need to heal? Identify those wounds. Identify those things that you need to let go of. And ask yourself, are you willing to let them go in 2021? What are you willing to stop talking about? I think that's the first step. Because every single time you talk about a wound, you give it power. Now, there is talking about things so that you can heal them. And sometimes we do need to let go of emotion and feeling. And we need to talk about those wounds, those things that we have buried deep inside. Yes, we do need to talk about them. Let them out. Give it power and let it go through speaking sometimes, or through emotion, through sadness or grief or anger or whatever needs to come up and out. But once you let it up and out, let it go and stop calling it back into your life. Stop calling it back into your consciousness. Bring it up, free it, and let it go. And if you talk about it again, you talk about it from a place of healing, and you talk about the lesson that came from it. What was the wisdom that you gained from that wound, from that experience? And only talk about that silver lining, the gold, the treasure that came from that experience, or from someone telling you something, or from something you learned from your family of origin. Speak it up and let it go. And when it comes back, because monkey mind will bring it back to you, especially when you start deciding that this time I'm going to do something different, some part of you will come running back and say, oh, but you got that wound from when you were 5. Remember, they told you don't sing good. Don't sing. Don't sing. Don't try out for the choir. Don't do that. Don't do that. And then you think, oh, I really shouldn't do that. I've decided not to be in the choir. I don't have time. We come up with excuses because a part of us is saying, oh, remember that. The wound is there. The wound is there. And you can say, no, this is a new day, a new time. I learned that I can create a new existence, and I can sing from my heart and be a part of a choir or whatever it is you want to be a part of, and sing life. Sing life. And I forgive whoever said to me that I could not do that thing. I forgive them and I let it go. And I'm going to sing to my heart's desire. What do you need to let go of? Decide now. Are you going to hold it and keep your fists clenched through the rest of the year, holding on to things, holding on to pain, contracting more, running from your greatness, your magnificence? That magnificence that you are is always sitting within you. It's in you right now and waiting for you to call it up. Waiting for you to call it up. And it can show up in ways you never believed. But you got to call it up. And just like the tree or the sprout that comes through the concrete or through the crack in the rock, you'll see that magnificence start to come up. But you've got to say yes. You've got to know that there's a source. You've got to know that there's something that's got your back. And it's nothing outside of you. Nothing outside of you. So what is it your heart wants for you? What wakes you up in the middle of the night? What fears or doubts that you have? What's one of the messages you've been holding and telling yourself for decades perhaps? Doesn't matter how long you've had the thought or the consciousness. You can heal it and move forward. But you got to be willing to do the work. Unity co-founder Myrtle Fillmore said it takes intense mind activity, but it can be done. Are you willing to do the work?
Yes.
And for most of us, it can be a lot of work, but if you decide you don't want to work hard at it and you just want to change your consciousness and move, you can do that too. You get to create the experience of letting go. Long time ago, I decided I wanted to really do some personal growth, and there's some things I really wanted to let go of. And I ran into one of Dr. Phil's books at I think it was at a rummage sale or something like that. The book was huge. It probably was 600 pages. And I thought, but I like Dr. Phil, and he's good, and he is good, and the book is wonderful, I'm sure. But the book was probably, yes, 600 pages. And I started to go through it, and there was a lot of work in it, and I thought, I'm not going through 600 pages of this. And it wanted me to go back through every single moment of my life. And I don't have that kind of time. I'll be 90. 90 before I get through all my stuff. Are you kidding me? So yes, the book is probably wonderful. Dr. Phil, don't call me. The book's probably wonderful, and if you choose that path, that's a good path for you. It was not for me. It was not for me. I chose to work on my consciousness and continue to know and to affirm every day that there is this force that wants my highest and good all the time, and it is inexhaustible. And it's got my back all the time. And that's what I said. I created an affirmation. I would say it several times a day. And when I started to feel less than, I would say that affirmation again. And sometimes I said it out loud because I needed to hear it. I needed to hear my voice affirming it in that moment. Because I wanted to block out whatever messages of lack and limitation were swirling around my head. And that monkey mind, which was for me a silverback gorilla most of the time, wasn't little monkeys. It was a big butt gorilla. And I needed to say something out loud to make the gorilla go away. I love gorillas, I really do. I'm not saying anything. I'm not fat shaming gorillas. But I did. In my consciousness, there was this large thing that kept saying, I kept hearing these negative messages. So I would have to say something out loud. There were days when I would be in my car with the windows up and scream something out loud because I needed to get that stuff out of my head. Yes, I am worthy of all good. Yes, my source is all good. And that's all I know. And I would have to yell that out in order to get that silverback gorilla mind and be free of it. And then over time, I didn't have to say it so loud. Now I can just be in my meditation time and say I am one with divine mind. All that matters, all that is God. I start my day with that. That is my source. And when I get in my day and I forget, I got to go back to the source. Go back to the source. When you want to heal the wounds, go back to the source. Remember, go back to the garden like the song said. This energy of possibility that Deborah spoke of so eloquently. Possibility is where we come from. So no matter what you have now, you can have something else later. In fact, in the moment, you can have the something else. Doesn't have to take 10 days, 10 years, 10 months. It can take 10 seconds. You can say, I am love and worthy of all love, overflowing in my life, and have it in that moment. Because you already have it, you just haven't recognized it. It's already here, you just haven't called it. You haven't put the crack in the rock for it to come through. Put the crack in the rock and let life spring forth. All it needs is a little yes. The faith of a mustard seed. All it needs is something tiny. And Spirit says, yes, yes, she's calling me forth. He's calling me forth. And it'll blow your mind if you'll just do something little by saying, yes, I'm willing to have more, to have, yes, more life, more peace, more health, more prosperity, more fulfillment in my work. I want unity, harmony in the world. Yes, and speak it into existence until you see it. Until you see it. But go to the source. Go to the source. It's waiting for you, humming, waiting, circling around. I just need you to say yes. Let me in the door. I need you to call something forward. You're calling it anyway, but you're calling stuff you don't want. You're calling lack and limitation. You know, walk around, I'm on a limited budget. I can't do this, can't do that. No. Stop saying that. If you want something different. Or say that I want everything, all the desires of my heart to come through with what I have. And it will. I'm amazed sometimes that something doesn't have to happen to the paycheck, but somehow I have more. It's amazing how that happens. Because I've called forth that I don't want to work more hours, but I'm able to get more done. Because I say that. I call it into existence. And if I'm unsure of how to do it, I just say, Spirit, show me.
Yes.
Show me how to do this and have a full, rich life. Because I don't want to work 60 hours. And I know all things are possible. Because everything's working out for me, isn't it?
Yes.
Everything's always working out for me. And so when I say that everything's working out for me and that I can have all of the work that I want to do and do it in 20 hours a week, that's possible. I just need to be able to listen and wait for Source to tell me this is how you do it. Ask and you shall receive. And the message comes through, write it down and express it in the world. Don't hesitate. Show me how to do this. Divine mind, I know that all things are possible. I know that everything is working out for me. Show me, show me, show me, and the answer will come. It's always waiting for you, that inexhaustible supply. So decide, as we step further into this year, what do you have to let go of? What do you need to release? What wounds do you want to heal? And once you have that, recognize the stories you have about those things and commit to not repeating the story. And even when you start to say the story, cut it off. I had to do that for a while. I would start, oh, by the way, there was a time, and then segue into something else. Because I would say, because it'll just roll off your tongue. You're so used to saying it, it'll just roll off. And it just comes, stop it in its tracks. Because now you're aware, now you know you want something different. And so when you hear it, you say, oh, I don't have to say that story anymore. Creating something new. And then at some point, it'll stop coming to mind. At some point, you'll be ready for a new story. At some point, you'll be creating something else. So let go of the things we don't want. Unclench your fist. Stop holding on to what you've had that you don't want anymore. Stop cursing it. Stop talking about it. Stop feeding it. Stop giving it life. Shake it off. Shake it off. And step forward into a new existence. And we may not know what it looks like, but it is always, always, always more than you could imagine calling forth. Always. It's happened to me every single time. Whenever I called something forth, it always came exponentially. Always. Because the universe is waiting to pour it forth. It just doesn't give you a little bit. It responds to a little bit with a whole lot. Because it knows, the source knows the desires of your heart. You were created with them. It already knows the desires of your heart. And it'll bring it to you. The things that you forgot that you wanted, that you said you wanted and needed from your soul when you were 4, 5, or 6 years old, all of a sudden will come. I remember when I had moments like that and it stopped me in my tracks and I said, oh my gosh, I'd forgotten that was a dream of mine. Oh my gosh. Yes. Get back to the source. I want Deborah to take us out and into meditation with the last part of this poem again, because we need to hear it again, and you're going to hear it more often during the year. Go ahead.
I choose the joy, the health, the strength. I push my boundaries, feel my length. Let no one's fear discourage me. I stay my course to let me be. For on this journey long and bright, I'm guided by the inner light. My path is clear, the road is wide. We all will bridge the great divide. Supporting what I see in you, I'm rooted in what's strong and true. Walking forward hand in hand, together, we all safely land. Best versions of both you and me, we swim in possibility.
2021, we're swimming in possibility. Swimming in possibility. Discover your length. Discover your length. Let's take this into meditation. Take a deep breath. You know the wounds you're carrying. See them in your mind's eye. See them there. Recognize them. Feel the energy of them. And just let them be. See them, don't attach to the energy, just let them be. Let them be in your mind's eye. Perhaps you're hearing the messages that you grew up with that are limiting you now in this moment, in this phase of life, this chapter we are in now. See it, but remain unattached. Knowing and affirming that it has no power over you. That the only power that matters, the only power is God's source. Infinite love. Love heals all things. And so now we're going to take a pink bubble of love, surround those wounds in that pink bubble. Surround it and see the pink, the color, the energy of that love seep into that wound. Seep all the way through it. Not a centimeter of that wound has not been touched. Everything, every inch of it is covered in love. And let it expand, let that love expand. And take over the wound. Let it take over the wound. So all you see is the pink bubble of love. Keep letting it expand. Perhaps the pink's intensifying. Perhaps it's expanding. And let the pink bubble surround it until you feel it or see it no more. Pink represents the all good, the power and strength that is God. Let it take over that wound and obliterate it. Perhaps your bubble expands. So it looks like fireworks, with points of light streaming down to the ground. Perhaps your bubble contracts for a bit, dissipates, takes control of the wound, heals it completely, and then expands, and all you see is pink. Let it do what it needs to do within you. Say, thank you for healing. Thank you for healing the wound. I release and let it go. I release and let it go. I am free and ready to step forward into a new expression of love, peace, joy, harmony, prosperity, vibrant health. Express your gratitude and say yes to a new day, a new moment. Fully healed. Fully healed. Let's breathe in, affirming healing and release, and exhale. Affirming the goodness of life, the infinite supply of light that permeates our beings, that expresses through us. Keep breathing. Grateful for healing and release, for your way made clear to a new existence in that area of your life. Healed by the divine. Healed as the divine within you, expressing as you. Ready to shine even more brightly. Let's take a breath together and exhale. One more, saying yes, saying thank you. Ready for a new day. Ready for a new year, overflowing with abundance, overflowing fullness. And so it is, and so it shall be. And as we are in this beingness of peace and joy and love, let us call out the names of those that we want to lift in prayer in this moment. Beverly.
Mackenzie.
Mm-hmm. Marilyn.
Yeah, Rosalind and Gary.
Katie. For Melissa.
Dorothy.
For the Silverberg family. The Greenfield family. For all of these beloved souls, and for all those who are in our hearts and minds but who may not have been named in this moment. We know that they too are expressing the all good, and their highest and best is at work in their lives right now. And they feel the energy that is the all good. That is omnipresence, omniscience, omnipotence. And they know that all things are possible and all things work together for good. And they know deep within their hearts that everything is truly working out for them. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen. So as we prepare for our celebration of giving, we are back at source, knowing that our lives are overflowing with prosperity in all areas. Let's recite together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all the good that I am and have, all the good that I give and receive. And so it is. Perfect. Oh, thank you.
Make space for the good things in your life. Make space for the good things in your life. Create a pathway to your heart. Create
Hold space for the good things in your life. Hold space for the good things in your life. Create a pathway to your heart. Create a pathway to your
Love that's all around. Love that's all around.
In this abundant life, all good things come from the divine source. And for us, we only have to hold space for that goodness, create a pathway to our hearts, and then receive all the love that's around every day, every moment, all the time. All the time.
So if you like to sing along with us on this last part, it's receive the love that's all around. Love that's all around. Receive the love that's all around. Make space.
Thank you. Who are they? So we just have a couple of announcements, and then we have a very special ceremony this afternoon where we're installing our 2 new board members. So today is very special indeed. So can I have the first slide, Quentin, please? He's back there sleeping on the job. What's happening? Yeah, right.
That's okay.
There you go. You asking, you shall receive.
Ask and you shall receive, yes.
That's your source.
Our 2021 theme, again, is abundance, living the abundant life. I came that you may have life and have it abundantly, from John 10:10. Next slide. So we're going to have a book study every quarter, and we're going to focus on a different area of life in each quarter, mind, body, spirit, and heart. So we're starting with heart, and our first book study is with the Book of Joy, Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama. And we'll be meeting on Tuesdays, January 19th through February 23rd. That's 6 Tuesdays in a row from 6:30 to 8 p.m. via Zoom. So I'll have everything out in the newsletter, and it'll also be on Facebook. The book is wonderful. I've started reading it, and just very, very profound, very uplifting. But the book is about how to create joy in our lives and have a joyful existence, even when life circumstances are difficult and challenging. How do you do that? And these two men have experience with very, very difficult situations, but creating joy in their lives. So it's a fantastic book. You can order it from Amazon. I have a link on our last newsletter, and I will have it out in the next one, and also with the Zoom link. Is there a slide after this one? And now we have our board member. Oh, let me have Tess come up first. She want to talk about the landscape team. Our fantastic landscape team.
We do have a fantastic landscape.
We do.
It's been a while.
It's been a couple of months.
Oh, do you need this? He said I did. We do have a fantastic team. And I just wanted to let everyone know that we are starting again in January. I have the new 2021 schedule out. We're going to meet on the fourth Saturday each month, generally, if we have good weather, and generally 9 to 11. So stay tuned to our Facebook page and keep up to date. I'll post any changes. So hope to see everyone there.
Great, thank you. Can I have the board members come up, please? And Quentin, can we have Jan on the screen? There she is. Hi, Jan.
Hi.
Hi, Jane.
So I do want to recognize that one of our board members, Mike Barraza, is not with us today, but we're holding Mike in our hearts and know that he is with us in spirit this afternoon. But here's our trustee board president, Fred Gardnauer, secretary of the board, Jerry Maressa, and one of our newly elected board members, Pete Fuentes. And on Zoom, we have newly elected board member, Jan Collins. Hi, Jan. So I'm going to turn it over to...
I see two of Jan.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Be afraid, 2 Jans.
This is the board installation ceremony, okay? We'll go.
Jan and Pete, just their names.
Jan and Pete, you are called to serve as members of the Board of Trustees of the Unity Spiritual Center, Saxe, with Fred Gardnauer, Jerry, and Mike. This calling you have said yes to is both profound and exciting. Board membership comes with great joys and challenges besides upholding our laws, our bylaws, and code of ethics. You will be called to make sacrifices of your time, creative energy, and resources. The requirements of serving this group may come at inconvenient times. Your commitment will require more than you presently imagine it will be. To do a good job will require that all that is in you and more. Prepare for spiritual and personal expansion and growth. Your energy will contribute to the collective energy that is this board, this leadership team. You will have a hand in defining the effectiveness and potential. To the degree that we support and nurture each other, collaborate creative together, and to the degree that we embody the unity principles, our vision, mission, and leadership team, and the community will flourish. The community cannot rise above our leadership. We must stay far in the lead. Repeat after me. Well, no, not yet. Will you, Pete and Jan, realizing the responsibilities of leadership that have been placed upon you, agree to give your time and energy to serve Unity Spiritual Center Saxe faithfully, lovingly, in accordance with its bylaws?
I do. Yes, I will.
Yes, I do.
Pete and Jan, please pledge your commitment to the service of our spiritual family. And then,
And Jan, why don't we have you go first? Go ahead and read your pledge.
All right. I, Jan Collins, accept the call to serve as a member of the Board of Trustees of Unity Spiritual Center Saxe, as determined by the voting members of this community. I will endeavor to bring the full strength and power of my innate divinity to this calling. I promise to model Unity's 5 principles to the best of my ability to serve and lead and to contribute to the fulfillment of our vision and mission with integrity, love, and wisdom and joy. I promise to uphold our bylaws, adhere to the code of ethics, and commit the best of my gifts and strengths to the work I am called to do during my tenure.
And Pete?
All right. Well, I really do appreciate this, becoming a board member here. And I just want to let everybody know that I truly love our little Unity Center here. I feel that it does, it has made me and my wife just so happy, that we do see things flourishing in our life, and that we have beautiful friends like we have here, So I just want to accept this, and I'll read what my part is here. I, Pete, accept the call to serve as a member of the Board of Trustees of Unity Spiritual Center Saxe, as determined by the voting members of this community. I will endeavor to bring the full strength and power of my innate divinity to this calling. I promise to model Unity's 5 principles to the best of my ability, to serve and lead, to contribute to the fulfillment of our vision and mission with integrity, love, wisdom, and joy. And I promise to uphold I promise to uphold our bylaws, adhere to the codes of ethics, and commit the best of my gifts and strength to the work I am called to do, the work that I am called to do during my tenure here. So I thank you.
Thank you. So Jan and Pete, you are now formally joined with Fred, Mike, Jerry, and myself as the leadership team. We are greater than the sum of our parts. We are now creating a new energy, a new entity that will shepherd this community through the next few years together. We are charged with keeping sight of the big picture, with holding our vision, fulfilling our mission, honoring our past, and guiding this community toward its future. Are you all ready and willing to accept this charge?
Yes.
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 Today, as a community, we formally bestow upon our chosen leaders the authority they need to carry out the works we have assigned them. We give our blessings to the ministries they will provide during their tenure as members of the Board of Trustees. We affirm their sense of calling to the roles of service they claim. We affirm those whom we have set apart through our election and who have taken upon themselves roles of leadership. This is no small thing. These leaders need our blessing if they are to do what we have asked them to do. They need our affirmation and our support, for they are no different than the rest of us. Yet they have entered the ministries of leadership for all our sakes and the sakes of those who will join this family in the decades to come and contribute to its legacy. These are the people we have called to serve us. Will the congregation please rise? Do you, members and friends of this community, those who are also watching online, affirm these elected leaders as volunteers who need your support, your participation, and your appreciation, as well as your care and concern? Yes. Thank you. As a community, we are grateful for your willingness to take on responsibilities of leadership in our community. We affirm your calling and vow to support your ministries of leadership in every single way that we can. We encourage you to take care of yourselves as you take care of us, and to remember that you are part of this community even while you lead us. In response to and as a sign of this affirmation of your service, I will now anoint you with oil that has been blessed in the names of all that is beautiful, true, and good. As this oil absorbs into your skin, may you absorb into your soul all the love and good wishes that surround you in this moment. For all that has been, we thank you. For all that will be, we say yes. So I want to start with Jan. Jan, for all that has been, I thank you, and for all that will be, yes.
Thank you.
Pete Fuentes. For all that has been, we say thank you. For all that will be, yes. Jerry. For all that has been, we say thank you. For all that will be, we say yes. Fred. For all that has been, we say thank you. For all that will be, we say yes. So we as a spiritual family affirm that the ultimate responsibility for this organization lies with all of us. This is our home. May we all do what we can to make it the home that we are proud of. We lift this team in their gifts, and we look forward with hope and love to the way that you will live out your gifts in ministry. We bless you and affirm your highest and best as you venture forth into service. Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Jan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome to the
Looking forward to
team.
serving. Thank you.
We miss everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, dear.
Oh my gosh. Good, good. So, let's do our prayer for protection. Let's affirm together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And let us stand and affirm our vision and mission together in all our power and might. We are Unity Spiritual Center Saxe. We are a thriving global community of spiritual seekers, transforming lives through love and the expression of our innately divine gifts. Our mission is to inspire spiritual and personal growth through the teaching and demonstration of unity principles toward the realization of living our best lives. Divine work is in every area of our lives right now. Divine wisdom is opening ways where to our human sense there is no way. Everything is always working out for me. Thank you very much for spending your Sunday with us. Jan, thank you so much for being with us through Zoom. Congratulations again to Jan Collins and Pete Fuentes. I know that I am very, very excited that you are now a part of this leadership team, and we're excited about having our first meeting together on January 12th. Thank you so much. I'm just very, very excited about our future from here on in. Have a wonderful Sunday and a great week. Namaste.